everybody. Thanks for joining me again. We have something a little bit different today. I'm making cranberry quinoa salad with candied walnuts. Now, if you have never eaten quinoa, you should because it's really delicious. Touted as a superfood and all this, but it's just a really, really tasty grain. But I'll talk about that a little bit later. First, I've already started over here in my sauce pot 1 cup of quinoa and 1 1/4 cups of chicken broth. You can use vegetable chicken, you can use plain water, but the broth gives it more flavor. So this takes about 15 to 20 minutes to cook, so I've already started that. Next, I have a tablespoon of butter and 2 tablespoons of honey warming up. We're going to start, while the quinoa is cooking, we're going to start on our candied walnuts, okay? So this is really easy. If you have ever made peanut brittle, cashew brittle, anything like that, it's very similar. This is just a tablespoon of butter, 2 tablespoons of honey, whoops, and 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. And you know me, I'm just going to eyeball it and throw some in there, and then I'm going to put it back on the heat and let this melt. Okay. All right, swish him around, put him back on the heat. And then to that, when that is all melted, I'm going to add a cup of chopped walnuts. You know, you could use pecans or whatever you like. Walnuts just really go good with this, okay? All right. Squish him around a little. Okay, so then I have a cup of walnuts. Nothing fancy here. You're just tossing that sugar around to coat the walnuts. Okay, and then we're going to leave this for, I'm going to turn it up just a touch. I think I'm going to put just a little more sugar in because I don't think I eyeballed enough. Actually, that might have been more than a cup of walnuts, so I'm gonna have to add a little more butter and a little more sugar, and that's okay. We'll get there. Just put that in there, let it melt. It's gonna cook for about 5 minutes. Okay, now my quinoa is boiling away, so I'm going to turn him down just a touch. Turn him down to a high simmer. So all the liquid doesn't boil away. Are you gonna stay? There you go. Okay, that's it. I'm gonna adjust our heat just a bit. Now, like I said, this is gonna cook. The walnuts are gonna cook for about 5 minutes. We're just gonna let them do their thing and stir them every once in a while. Okay? All right, leave that be. Now, quinoa, if you have not eaten quinoa, comes in a little baggie like this. Quinoa is a grain. Looks kind of like birdseed. Looks like millet or Milo. This one, you can get red quinoa, white quinoa. This one is tricolor. But this is what it looks like. Where's my camera? There's my camera. Do you see that? See how tiny he is? Yeah. So that's quinoa. It's falling all over. I'm going to have to clean again. But it's a very, very tiny grain. Okay, they call it a superfood. It's high in fiber, low in cholesterol, all that stuff. I use it in place of rice sometimes. I just really like it. My 8-year-old likes it. The farmer likes it. It's all good. Okay, so while this stuff cooks, looks nice. We're going to work on a dressing for this salad. And this is really easy, okay? So in my big bowl, I have about 2 sliced green onions. Just chop them up, put them in there. And I have quinoa everywhere. Okay. And let's see the dressing. Okay, so I need 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Again, we're gonna eyeball this, nothing fancy here. 1, 2, maybe just a touch more. A little bit of olive oil. Just a little bit of orange juice. It says a tablespoon, so again, eyeball that. That looks like about a tablespoon. And then we need a tablespoon of lime juice. I can open him up. He's brand new. Okay. Tablespoon of lime juice. Just like that. And a little bit of salt and pepper. About 1/8 of a teaspoon. Again, I always go heavy on the pepper. We like pepper. If you need to go easy on the salt, you can sure do that. But your salad might be a little bit bland. Okay. And then some garlic. I have garlic powder today because I forgot the fresh garlic. It's a clove of fresh garlic normally, but I forgot it. So we're improvising and we're using garlic powder today. Okay, and just gonna stir that up. The citrus juice will kind of, if you stir long enough, it'll kind of emulsify the oil and it'll get kind of creamy looking. And you just have a nice little vinaigrette. Okay, see, it looks nice. Okay, that's it. That is all there is to that dressing. Super, super simple. Okay, so let's check on our walnuts. Okay, so this is our walnut. They just kind of have a light coating of that brown sugar and butter. And that's what you want to see. Very nice. Okay, put him back on the heat. Let him do his thing. When you are cooking these, you don't want to cook it on a high heat because the butter and the sugar, they will go past melting really, really quickly. And pretty soon you will have burnt candy, and that is not good. Okay, all right, I'm going to turn down my quinoa a little bit more. The liquid is starting to absorb. It's all good over there. Oops, get back in the pan. Okay, that's it. Now we wait. While we wait, I have a plate covered with parchment paper. Okay, this is to put the candied pecans on once they're done. You can definitely let them cool in the pan. However, if you do that, you will have a pan-sized disc of walnut brittle, which is great. You can still put that on your salad, but you're gonna have to break it up first, okay? So, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Just put a piece of parchment over a plate, a cookie sheet, something big and flat. Dump your candied walnuts on it and kind of spread them out and let them cool. That way, when they cool and that candy hardens, it'll be in separate little bits, so you don't have to break up that big walnut brittle disc, okay? And if you forget and you leave it in the pan, that's fine. Like I said, you just have to break it up. It's still gonna taste just the same, it's still gonna be fine, but you will have to break it up. So save yourself a step, okay? All right, okay, let's stir these again. All right, you wanna keep stirring these. Oh, they smell wonderful. I wish you could, as with all cooking shows, I wish we had smell-o-vision because, oh man, butter and sugar and walnuts, it's just amazing. It smells so good. Okay, so we have 2 more steps and then we get to put this together. Okay, this is really easy. Our next step is to add broccoli to the quinoa. Now the original recipe says you cook the quinoa and then you take it out of the pot and you put water back in the pot and then you cook your broccoli, and I don't have time for that, okay? So this is about a cup, roughly, of chopped broccoli florets. You can use fresh or frozen, doesn't matter. It's whatever you have on hand to use up, okay? So chop them roughly into pieces like that. You don't want a huge piece of broccoli in your salad. My quinoa has cooked for roughly 10 minutes, probably closer to 12 by now. What I'm going to do is put the broccoli on top of the quinoa. You're not going to stir it up. You're just going to scrape it off onto the top and let it steam, okay? So, and try not to throw broccoli all over like I did. Okay, put the lid back on, let him be. All right, my walnuts are talking. Let's stir them. Oh, they look wonderful. Couple more minutes and they'll be done. Nice. Okay, so the only other thing that we have to put in this salad is cranberries. Dried cranberries, fresh cranberries, doesn't really matter. I generally have dried cranberries on hand because my son likes them for a snack. However, I am out. But I did have a lot of tart pitted cherries, okay? They're tart, they're sweet. The flavor profile is similar to cranberries, so I'm gonna put these in instead, and I think it'll be just fine. They're just, you know, just dried cherries. They look a lot like cranberries. The recipe calls for a half a cup, so I'm just gonna do a big handful. If you are using dried, you want to reconstitute them a bit, so we're gonna do the same thing with these as we did the broccoli. We're just gonna put them on top of the quinoa, and it's gonna steam and rehydrate them a bit, okay? So nice big handful. Right in there like that. Again, try not to throw them all over like I do. I tend to be kind of messy in the kitchen. Okay. Easy, right? We've spent no time at this. Okay, we're gonna stir our walnuts one more time. And then I believe they're almost done. Okay. How do you know when they're done? Well, because they will stick to your spatula. They are not really going anywhere, okay? That's the butter and the sugar starting to make that candy. I think these guys are done. Okay, so these are done. And I'm gonna take my plate and just gonna scoop my nuts onto the plate. And make sure you scrape your pan and get all that wonderful sugar out. All right, we still have a big blob, right? Just spread them out. They cool quicker, and they won't be in quite such a messy, brittly mass when we get ready to put them in our salad. All right, that's it. These are already setting up. Looks nice, right? If you like peanut brittle, walnut brittle, cashew brittle, anything like that, you will like these. They're wonderful just to make and eat. Okay, let me clean this up a bit. All right. Oh, one other thing that I forgot to tell you about the quinoa. Quinoa is a grain, so of course it may have little bits of the plant left in it, just like rice does. It may have a little bit of a husk or something. So when you measure it, you need to measure it out, and then you need to rinse it. What I generally do is I have a really fine mesh strainer that's about that big around, that I just dump it in there and I run water over it. You want to do that to get out any dirt, any dust, anything like that. But also, quinoa has a bitter coating on it that's water soluble. It will wash off, okay? If you don't wash that off, your quinoa salad is going to taste bitter. and it's not going to be nearly as good. Now, why don't they do that before you get the quinoa? Well, it's a grain. What happens to grain when you get it wet? Bad things. Bad things. It starts to sprout. It will start to mold. It will go sour. It will stink to high heaven. This is why they don't do it. Okay. So, and if you look on the back, it will tell you that you need to wash it before you eat it. Today I didn't have my mesh strainer. I forgot to grab it and bring it with me, so I just used a tea towel. Put my quinoa in it, gathered up the edges, ran water through it, worked just fine. Okay, so let's check on our quinoa. All right. Oh, nice. Okay, all of the water is absorbed. It's kind of like rice in that respect. You just want to make sure that all of the water is absorbed from the quinoa. Okay, so we're going to stir that up. See all my broccoli and cherries in there? Just going to stir that up. Okay, now you can let this cool before you make your salad. It's up to you. You don't have to. You can dump this hot right into your bowl with the dressing. There's nothing in the dressing that it's going to hurt, right? There's salt, pepper, onions, olive oil, and some citrus juice. There's nothing in there that's going to spoil. So if you want to let this cool down a bit, you sure can. You don't have to, and I'm not going to. I'm just going to put this right in there, a little bit at a time first, because I don't want to splash that dressing everywhere. Okay, and then I'll put the rest in. Okay, get all of that goodie out of there. Very nice. Oh, it smells so good. Those cherries, they smell amazing. Okay, so stir that up a bit. Make sure you get the dressing on everything. This salad can be served cold. It can be served warm or at room temperature. Whatever you prefer. It's equally as tasty at any temperature. Oh my gosh. Okay, and then here's our pecans. I keep calling them pecans. They're walnuts. All right. So these aren't quite cool, but if I lift them up, you can see, maybe I can get a good angle. They're sticking together, okay? These were done. These were perfectly done. So before these get too cold and decide to harden completely, I'm just gonna put them in my salad. See how that brittle is sticking together? There's a good shot of it. All sticking. Nice. Okay. This is so exciting. You have no idea. I haven't made this salad in a long time and just really, really wanted it. Okay. So I'm just going to break up those walnuts. Oh my gosh, the garlic, the onion, cranberries, those walnuts, everything smells so good. And here I go, making a mess again. Okay, lovely. All right, guys. Here's our salad. Here's our cranberry, or in this case, cherry, quinoa salad with candied walnuts. Very, very nice. I wish you could smell it. Smells great. This is a wonderful vegetarian salad. Well, if you used vegan butter, it would be vegan as well. Lovely vegetarian salad. This goes great as a salad and a side. You could also use this to stuff an acorn squash or a bell pepper. That would be great too. We just like it as a salad. Like I said, cold, room temperature, doesn't matter. It's all good. Okay, there she is. If you guys don't eat quinoa, please try this. I think you'll like it. Like I said, my boys do, and they're kind of picky. So there you go. Cranberry, broccoli, candied walnuts, quinoa salad. Boy, that's a mouthful. Anyway, until next time, everybody. Hope you try this. Happy cooking. Bye-bye.